Say something. Say something. Shit. Say something. Say something. Hang on. Fuck's sake. How about now? How about now? How about now? Oh, fuck. How about now? How about now? How about now? How about now? Okay. What? How about now? Why is it? How about now? Can you hear me now? I muted the sound on my own computer. Can you hear me now? Is it still distorted? Can you hear me now? Yes. Is it distorted, or does it just sound okay? Does it sound okay now? Alright. Okay, cool. I don't know what's going on. I'm doing the same stuff I used to do, but now it's a battle to get the audio to work right. I'm not sure why that is. I'll have to screw with it again. But it seems to be working okay now. Great. Because I'm going to have to fiddle with that every time I start one of these things. But it's working now. Okay, good. Maybe the speakers are dying. I better not. This computer's less than a year old. And I paid a lot of money for it, too, so there is no reason for it to be broken. These apples are resilient. At least they're supposed to be. Okay. Welcome back to my season finale, in which I talk about the final 2 season finales of the shows that you all come here to talk about. So we've got The Flash and Arrow, and you know what, let's do something a little different tonight. Let's start with Arrow as a warm-up, because I guarantee you anything that I have to say about Arrow is not even going to come close to the bile that I'm about to spew about The Flash. So let's let that one percolate a little bit. I'm going to start with Arrow. But before I say anything, I must stress to you all in the chat room, okay? This is something that I've been talking about. It's been coming up a lot in these streams recently. Please try to keep your questions and comments in the chat room on topic, okay? This is for my benefit, so I don't get sidetracked and lose focus and stuff, okay? It seems like lately a lot of people have been just asking off-topic questions at weird times, and I guess it's very distracting to for my ADD personality. So if I'm talking about Arrow, for example, please keep the questions and comments about Arrow. When we move on to the Flash, keep them about the Flash. Then when we're done talking about the TV shows, then you can ask me whatever you want. Okay? Until that time, please try to stay on topic. And a lot of people have been ignoring this when I asked them to do that. A lot of people have been ignoring me when I asked them to do that and just saying, "Oh, sorry, I know it's off topic, but..." And then they just ask an off-topic question anyway, okay? That doesn't count. Okay? It doesn't count if you say that, all right? Please, please try to stay on topic. This is for my benefit, all right? I'm trying to do a good job here and give you guys like some good, reviews and stuff. And going off topic and trying to distract me with other stuff, that doesn't help. Okay, so again, I ask you, please try to stay on topic. If you want to ask an off-topic thing, fine. Just wait until the end. Let's get started. Arrow, Season 4, Episode 23, Schism. Damien Darhk shows up at Felicity's apartment and miraculously decides not to kill anyone. But he does make off with the laptop that has all the Rubicon stuff on it, so that means that he can now launch every nuke in the world, like he tried to do last week. But Felicity manages to stop one nuclear missile, and by doing that, she finds out where Damien's computer hub is, so she can, so she goes there and stops the other 15,000 plus nukes quite easily. Meanwhile, Oliver stops a riot just by jumping on top of a car and making a speech, inspiring said angry mob to become a hopeful mob, which then counteracts Damien Darhk's death magic, making him mortal so Oliver can finally kill him, and then Oliver gets sworn in as the interim mayor. Watching this episode, something I couldn't help but think was how easy everything seemed. Especially with the nukes. Felicity stopping the one headed for Star City is believable enough, but by doing this, she not only figures out how to stop the 15,000 plus other nukes, something that Argus and the US military couldn't even figure out, but also determines where Damien's base is, where he's running all this computer stuff, and from there it's quite easy to just, go to that place and shut the whole thing down and kill the rest of the nukes in mid-flight. Is it just me, or did it seem like that should have been a lot harder to pull off? I don't know if I've talked about this before. Maybe this was just the tipping point for me. But Felicity being some kind of walking Deus Ex Machina that can basically use a computer like a magic wand to do literally anything you need to have happen, it's getting to be a bit much. I'm starting to have trouble taking it seriously. I think a better way to do this would have been to scale it back a lot. Focus on Felicity and Curtis in this race against time to stop that one particular nuke from destroying the city, having a lot of trouble, and then working in conjunction with Argus and or the US government to stop the rest of them and just barely pulling it off. To say that she somehow did all this pretty much by herself with no one but Curtis to help her out it's a little hard to swallow. I mean, yes, Curtis is the unbelievable genius who invented a magical gizmo that can make crippled people walk again and a battery smaller than an iPhone that can power an entire building, but there have to be limits somewhere, guys. There have to be. Then there's this whole thing with Oliver instilling hope in the people of the city. There's this angry mob tearing the place apart. Oliver just jumps on top of a car and everyone instantly stops rioting and becomes enraptured with his every word. How? What did he do or say that was so amazing and awe-inspiring that it got everyone's attention so quickly? I jump on top of a car during a riot to make an impromptu speech, I'm probably going to get shot before I can open my mouth. But somehow Oliver just calms everybody down just like that. Again, it seems like that should have been a lot harder. Then he confronts Damien for the final time, and the mob he inspired earlier shows up to help. And this neutralizes Damien's magic, which is powered by fear and death and all that stuff. And there's maybe a couple hundred people here max, okay? How is the hope of this comparatively small group of people enough to counteract the power-up that Damien got from the tens of thousands of deaths when the nuke went off last week? I guess the implication is that Oliver's speech managed to reach and inspire the entire city somehow, but we never really saw that. Budget restraints, I guess. So just like that, Damien's magic is suddenly not a thing anymore, and the second he tried to threaten Oliver by saying that he's a former member of the League of Assassins, right there, you knew he was done. I don't know who Damien thought he was going to intimidate, but Oliver's fought the League plenty of times, and yeah, they suck. So, right there, all the tension immediately evaporates. Oliver kills Damien following a pretty average fight by Arrow standards, and the crisis is finally over. Afterward, Thea decides that she needs to get out because she's still got a murderous streak in her that needs to be dealt with, although I would argue that threatening one little girl to stop a madman who's trying to cause a nuclear apocalypse is pretty understandable. Also, Dig takes off for a while to deal with his issues over killing Andy. Crazy twist here. Dig tells Lila the truth about how Andy died, and Lila actually understands. Because Lila is fucking awesome. Best wife ever. And with Ruve Adams now dead, Oliver gets appointed interim mayor. This I like a lot. I believe that happened in the comics too, and that sets up some interesting stuff for next season. Like, how does he balance being a superhero and the mayor? Yeah, there's some good things they can do with that. But for right now, Team Arrow is down to just Oliver and Felicity. Because, don't fool yourselves, they were absolutely not going to sideline Felicity. All the character stuff here made sense, especially what Dig decides to do, because that would fuck up anybody, I think. I thought Thea's issues had been wrapped up, but I guess not. I hope she comes back to the team, though. But the constant flip-flopping with Malcolm Merlin is getting annoying. You know, he starts the season as a quasi-ally, and then does another heel turn, joining Hive, but then does another face turn at the end there. I get that he's a complex guy, but at this point, I kind of just want him to pick a side and stick with it, because he's turning so much, he's kind of rivaling the Big Show at this point for the number of turns he does so quickly. And that's pretty much it. I don't think this was a terrible finale. I do think it was better than last season's, but they still have not come close to equaling the Season 2 finale, and I don't know if they will. Like I said, the biggest problem here was how easy everything seemed. Like, the tension and the stakes had been built up so high, and then the solution didn't really live up to it. I think the writers made a mistake early on in making Damien so powerful. He was so overpowered that beating him in any way that wasn't some kind of titanic struggle would have felt like... I don't want to say bullshit exactly, but when Oliver finally killed him, I just shrugged and went, that's it? Wow, that seemed pretty easy. And that was an issue this whole episode had, really, even in smaller scenes. Like when Damien shows up at Felicity's apartment. For a second, you're scared. You think they're completely fucked. And then Oliver just smashes through the window. How the hell did he get there so fast? We just saw him coming out of that underground bunker. I thought that was going to be a big thing where Felicity and Curtis and Donna couldn't defend themselves from Damien and his people, and you're scared that he's going to kill them all or do like some manner of horrible shit to them, and nobody can stop him, but then Oliver, Thea, and Merlin somehow managed to get clear across town in a matter of seconds like magic to save everybody. It almost felt like a cheat. I don't want to sound like I'm coming down too hard on this. I didn't hate this finale. I really didn't. Overall, the best way I can sum it up is that it felt like a fitting hit and miss conclusion to what was a hit and miss season. Okay, so sound off on Arrow in the comments section, and remember to please stay on topic. No sound. Here we go. I see you got a bit of a Quentin Lance going on your dome. Nice. Yeah. Remember when I said that the rash left over from when I was sick? That was still a thing. Yeah. Well, I had it on my scalp. So I was scratching so hard that I was that some of my hair was coming out, and so that the hair kind of had to go, because I got some stuff from the dermatologist to put on it, but when I had hair up there, I couldn't put it on. So that's why I have no hair. I had to shave that off, and but good news, the itch is a lot better. So. That's nice. What did Laurel say to Oliver before she died? We didn't get to find out. Yeah, the producers said we'll find that out next season. I'm curious my own self. I said they weren't going to find out until season 5. Yeah, okay. So this episode is a role reversal from last season where Oliver and Felicity took off and left everyone behind. This season, everyone takes off and leaves Oliver and Felicity behind. Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. Oh, you're right. This bullshit about hope magic is so silly my mind almost broke, and I say that as a brony. Well, if even a brony is saying that, then you must really be serious. Yeah, the whole hope metaphor thing, it was pretty on the nose. I would agree with that. I think Curtis kind of saved that a little bit with his little pep talk. Before the climax there, but it was a little bit hokey. I would agree with that. This central air is not really doing much. Okay, no problem. Forget to watch it as in the Arrow. I'll try to watch and I'll hopefully stay on topic today. Okay, cool. I probably don't have to explain to my fellow viewers that the thing with the nuke being stopped when within visual range is insane. ICBMs travel at escape velocity. They're going thousands of miles per hour. If you can see one, it's already hit, literally. By that I mean the retina couldn't follow it fast enough and you'd be seeing its reflection from a few seconds before. And the detonating of tens of thousands of nukes in orbit would shower the world with enough EMP to blast us back to the 19th century. Well, I got the impression that they didn't detonate those nukes. They just, turned them off or something. I don't know, maybe I missed that part. Now, without nukes, there is no more deterrent against land wars, so I hope you like speaking Mandarin, because we're being invaded soon. Okay, yeah. Yeah, there's no more deterrent. That's gonna be a problem, isn't it? Lost my place. So much for Baron Blitzkrieg. He was the bad guy writer in the flashback this season, except decided not to make him German, apparently. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Honestly, I've kind of been ignoring the if you'll notice, I've kind of been ignoring the flashbacks just because I find them completely uninteresting at this point. They've been heading in that direction since season 3, but I have very little patience for them right now. They just feel completely superfluous. I don't think there's any reason to do them in every episode. Oliver's pep talk, restoring the city's hope, was all well and good with me, except for the part where he got their attention in the first place just by standing on top of a car. Yeah, it almost seemed like they stopped rioting and started looking at him before he said anything. Wasn't it? I'd have to rewatch, but I kind of got that impression. You can tell they were all, being directed. Okay, you're pretending to riot, but when he gets on the car, everybody immediately look up that way, and it looked very staged, I guess you could say. Definitely think that Arrow is suffering from big bad fatigue. They really need to back off the high stakes and focus more on personal stories, the way Daredevil and Jessica Jones have on Netflix. Agreed. I think that's one of the things that made season 2 so good. I mean, that was actually a pretty big story, but it also had that personal connection with Slade Wilson that Oliver didn't really have in the last 2 seasons. And I think that's something that big bads since Deathstroke have been missing. A simple thing like just having him carry a megaphone and yell into that would have made it more sensible to me. You're not wrong. There's one loose end that wasn't addressed by the end of the show. What happened to Dark's daughter? I wonder that myself. That kid is going to be all kinds of screwed up. Well, based on how Thea talked about threatening to or almost kill the daughter, whatever she said, I get the impression the kid isn't dead. Oh, no, she's still alive. She was still alive afterward. But yeah, that kid is going to need serious therapy. Okay, see, Tyler Turner, you just asked an off-topic question. I'm happy to answer it, but ask it again at the end when we're done talking about Arrow and Flash. Okay, just copy and paste. Just copy and paste it at the end. I'll be happy to answer it. All right. I think you just spoiled how the Russian mob becomes relevant. They really need to stop the flashbacks. They did tie into the main storyline, but they weren't needed. Not really. Yeah, I find it weird that Oliver needed Vixen to tell him about the totem thing. And that's how he figured out where Damien's magic came from. But once we get to the late in the flashbacks, we saw that Oliver already knew about how totems can fuel someone's magic. So why did he need Vixen to tell him about that? You know? That was confusing to me. It seems like it really does seem like the flashbacks are hurting the show more than helping it at this point. Ugh. Lila is the best wife ever. She reacted perfectly since day one on the series. I literally can't think of a moment she fucked up in the entire series. Yeah, she's pretty much the perfect wife. Yeah, Diggs a lucky man. You know, Arrow finale was bad when the IGN gave it a bad review. Did they? Wow. I don't understand how the Arrow Season 1 and 2 finales were incredible and finales 3 and 4 were a bit lackluster. It seems that it's hard for the writers to recreate that magic. Maybe they were just trying harder because those were the early seasons. And they were still riding that hype train. Now, like, the new car smell is kind of worn off. I don't know, maybe 3 and 4 weren't planned out as well as 1 and 2 were. Because 1 and 2 kind of felt like one big story. With like the Slade Wilson through line carrying over through both of them. Now they don't really have that anymore. So it's gone a bit off the rails since then. That was a pretty good finale. I think the hope beats death thing is stupid, though. I wasn't kidding about what I said earlier. Okay, I'll try to get into Arrow, and I'll keep on watching The Flash, because they both are awesome. Well, opinions vary on The Flash. By vary, I mean I feel differently from everybody else who's constantly praising that show. But that's how you feel. That's fine. Let's see. Berlanti, who did the first 2 seasons, went to Flash. Someone named Speed Weed, not making that name up, took over Arrow in 3 and 4. Oh yeah, I've seen that name in the titles in the credits. That is the best name ever. I don't know if it's fake or not. I would love it if that was the guy's actual name. That is a fucking awesome name. I mark out every time I see it in the credits for the show. I always pay attention to that. Dark was built up as the most powerful enemy they've ever seen. I can't possibly imagine what Season 5 will do. Yeah, that's another problem. They make Dark so uber powerful, it's like, what the hell do they do now? This guy made the League and Deathstroke look like pansies. Season 5 may need to introduce Darkseid to keep it up. I don't think they'll be doing that. That would be a Superman thing. I think they're saving him for Justice League. And, you know, how we've seen how a character who's going to wind up in the movies cannot be allowed to appear on the show anymore. I guess they made an exception for the Flash, but all those other characters, you know, Deadshot, for example, Amanda Waller, they're gone now. Totally agree with the praise for Lila. She's even more understanding about Diggle killing his brother than John himself is, because she's a soldier, not a Tumblrette who happens to be a super genius. I see what you did there. Were the nukes redirected up into space or something? I was unclear on that myself. I was under the assumption that she just, like, turned them off. Said they would just crash uselessly into the ground and not explode. But I'm not sure. I wonder if the way they left this season, if it could tie into the Starling City future we saw in Legends of Tomorrow. I doubt it. I mean, I think that was supposed to be like 30, 40, 50 years in the future, wasn't it? I don't think so. I guess because Oliver is famous, I mean, if Ryan Gosling started giving a speech during a riot, I guess people would listen. Possibly. I don't know if he's famous. He might be he might be considered a local celebrity because of all those times he's appeared in the tabloids. Plus, the guy did just run for mayor. Possibly. For the nukes redirected into space, that may be what they meant us to think, I guess, but that's simply not how ICBMs work. I would be willing to accept comic book science on that one. They're not spaceships, they're missiles. They're on a ballistic trajectory. They either fall or blow up. They can't change directions like that and go up. You can make them go down to somewhere else or explode, but not change altitude. It's a nitpick, I understand. Alright. Like I said, I figured she just turned them off. So they didn't blow up. Hey, the Arrowverse in general isn't exactly technically sound with rocket science details. We know that much from Flash and Legends. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Oh god, the Flash. I hate to be a bitch about it, but that Magnetar thing... Guys, we'll get to the Flash. We'll get to the Flash. Trust me, I have some things to say about that. Apparently, Speed is officially just a nickname. His parents have been calling him that since the day he was born, but I get they put something else on his birth certificate. Alright, so it's like a stage name. Alright, whatever. Still the most awesome name ever, though. Okay, the crazy part about the Flash finale is some of the science was correct. They just used it so poorly. Okay, let's move on to the Flash. Oh boy. For the record, I don't know how correct or incorrect any of the science was in this episode, but that's actually not what I'm about to talk about. The Flash, Season 2, Episode 23, The Race of His Life. Zoom kills Barry's dad, which means that on top of already being the stupidest person who ever lived, Barry is also really emotional and not thinking clearly. That is a recipe for unpleasantness. And this sucks for everybody else because Barry then decides to put the fate of the entire multiverse at stake just so he can beat Zoom in a glorified pissing contest. And once that's done, Barry decides to flush the only real character development he received in the Season 1 finale down the shitter and go back in time to save his mother. Again. When I reviewed the Season 1 finale, I said it was so bad, with Barry acting like such an unthinking, selfish bastard, that it almost made me quit the show entirely. This was worse. This time, Barry wasn't just putting his own world in jeopardy so he could save one person. He was putting every world in jeopardy so he could save one person. Zoom wants to destroy the entire multiverse. I don't know why, but that's what he wants. And Barry decides that he's going to actually give Zoom a chance to do this, endangering so many lives that a number big enough to count them all doesn't even exist, just so Barry can save one person. The only difference here is that this person is still alive rather than being dead for 16 years, but who the hell cares? What the fuck does one person's life mean compared to the entire multiverse? And you know what? If Barry could have talked to Joe, Joe would have told him that same thing. Because that was perhaps the one saving grace about this episode, that Team Flash actually saw the bigger picture and knew that the responsible thing to do was to just seal the breach so Zoom would not have the chance to destroy every world in the universe. Every world in every universe. They were actually using their heads, and that's more than I can say about Barry. Because Barry was being so reckless, so unthinking, so unimaginably selfish and irresponsible that he plans to give Zoom exactly what he wants to give Zoom a chance to destroy every world in every dimension just so Barry can get revenge on this guy and settle a personal grudge. Fuck you, Barry. Fuck you. The fact that the Speed Force actually chose to give superpowers to this bastard not once, but twice, absolutely baffles me. He is literally worse than Hitler at this point. While we're on the subject, why the hell did the Speed Force choose to give powers to Hunter Zolomon? There was nobody more deserving or more worthy than a multiple murderer who is clearly insane? You figured that one out. I hated so many things about this episode. Hated them. I was right in my assessment last week. Barry's dead mom angst has been replaced by dead dad angst. Instead of his dead mom preventing him from being the superhero that he should be, it's his dead dad. It's the same goddamn thing all over again. Only this time it's worse, because now the emotions are so raw that Barry's making even worse decisions than before. And believe me, that's saying a lot. So Zoom wants to race Barry because he has this science machine that will siphon off the energy created when they race, and when this thing is powered up, it will destroy the entire multiverse somehow. I was never clear on why Zoom wanted to do any of this, I guess because evil is bad, or whatever. So Barry wants to race him, wants to put the entire multiverse in danger, and in one of the few tolerable moments of this episode, Team Flash actually lock Barry up so he can't do this. Remember last season when Joe was encouraging Barry to put the fate of the world in danger on the off chance that the Reverse Flash wasn't trying to screw them over somehow so he could go back in time and save his mommy? This time, Joe has learned something. This time, Joe is saying, Barry, let's not put every life in existence at risk because of your personal hang-ups. Instead of that, let's do the sane thing. And Team Flash agrees. So they lock up Barry in a cell so he can't do the worst thing anyone has ever done in the history of time. I should have known that wouldn't stop him. Then the stupid comes back. They decide to try to take down Zoom without the Flash. Because the first time they tried this, it only resulted in dozens of police officers being senselessly murdered, so why not try it again, right? At least this time they have some sort of plan. The hologram thing was clever, took a page from Coulson's book there, so they didn't put Caitlin in the line of fire. That's okay, good, so far so good. And the plan does kind of work. You know, it sends Zoom back to Earth 2, even if he takes Joe with him. But what I didn't understand is why Zoom couldn't just come back. We saw last week that he can open those portals at will whenever he wants to, so why didn't he just do it here and immediately come back to kill them all? Beats me. Never explained. So anyway, Wally releases Barry from the cell. Everybody else is pretty much decided that, you know, the smart thing to do is just close the breach and write Joe off as an acceptable loss. Something Joe probably would have agreed with. But Wally doesn't really understand how things work, so he lets Barry out of the cell. I wasn't mad at Wally here. You know, he's new to all this. He doesn't really get what's going on. He doesn't understand the full scope of things because nobody's filled him in yet. That was fine. But then Barry chews out the team for trying to stop Zoom without the Flash. How could you do something so stupid? What were you thinking trying to stop Zoom without the Flash? Gee, I don't know, Barry. I think maybe they were thinking the same thing that you were thinking just a couple episodes ago when you tried to stop Zoom without the Flash. Fuck off, you hypocritical piece of shit. You are in no position to be throwing stones right now. They couldn't exactly count on you to keep a level head, so they were doing the only thing that they could do in this situation. Jesus, did these writers try to make Barry as unlikable as possible? Gee, Christ. So Barry's gonna race Zoom. Multiverse be damned. And the way it works is that Barry has to catch Zoom before this science machine is fully powered up. And if he can't do that, then he's killed the entire multiverse, dooming bazillions of innocent people. Can you guess what happened? That's right. Barry could not catch Zoom in time, meaning that he just triggered an extinction-level event across every dimension in the multiverse. My God. Oh, but see, Barry managed to save Joe, so I guess that makes it okay, right? Right? Yeah, so Barry somehow pulled off that time remnant trick from out of nowhere, which he didn't know that he could do, or how to do it for that matter. So it's comforting to know that Barry went into this situation with no plan whatsoever. By the way, that time remnant thing still makes no fucking sense at all. What, you run so fast that you create a clone of yourself? How the fuck does that work? Oh, and I assume that both of these dumb fucks were doing well over Mach 2 here, but for some reason neither of them time travel. Why? I don't know. Never explained. So anyway, Barry could not catch Zoom in time, so he causes the multi-dimensional apocalypse. I suppose we should at least give Barry some credit for stopping the apocalypse that he himself created by himself this time, and not needing Firestorm to bail his ass out, but I'm not sure how he did this. Basically, he just ran around it really fast for a minute, and that somehow stopped the whole thing. So no more apocalypse, because Barry ran around it really fast. Wow, that was easy. Why is the catch-all solution for world-ending calamities on this show to have Barry just run around them really fast until the problem resolves itself? Why is that supposed to stop every really bad thing that happens? I don't know. So the day is saved, Zoom is defeated. There's even a Deus Ex Machina at the last minute to save Barry from having to do that thing that he should have fucking done the last time he had Zoom at his mercy. So he doesn't even have to kill Zoom. And that was bullshit. Excuse me for being blunt, but I really did not want to see Barry get off easy after everything he did here. You know, when Oliver had to kill Damien Dark in the Arrow season finale, he fucking killed that guy. There was no easy way out. Why does Barry get off easy, but Oliver doesn't? Doesn't seem fair to me. And the last scene. Oh, God, Jesus Christ. The last scene. What the fuck? This made it even worse. Barry does something that honestly made me want to throw my TV out the window. He goes back in time to save his mom. By the way, he does this so ridiculously easily that it made me wonder why the hell they made such a big deal about it last season. Anyway, look. Barry saves his mom. For some reason, the future version of himself who told his past self to not get involved the last time he tried to do this wasn't there this time. I don't know why. But yeah, he saves his mom, so she doesn't die when she was supposed to. Completely undoing the only fucking thing Barry learned in the season 1 finale. And that was the final slap in the face. This whole damn show, up to this point, certainly the whole first season, was about Barry learning to accept that he can't change what happened to his mother, because her death is what made him what he is. That was his defining moment. It's what led to him becoming the Flash. And with this one act, they threw out 2 seasons of ill-conceived character development and had Barry regress back to that little kid who just wanted his mommy and refused to accept that he can't bring her back. That infuriated me almost as much as Barry causing his second extinction-level event in as many years. Because they basically just told us that the last 2 seasons we spent with this guy have meant absolutely nothing. He hasn't learned a goddamn thing. In fact, it's worse than that. Now he's forgetting stuff that he was supposed to have learned before. This show isn't about Barry Allen learning to be a superhero. It's about Barry being an emotionally stunted baby who refuses to take responsibility for his own fuck-ups and act like a goddamn adult. You could not have found a person less suited to be a superhero if you had given these powers to a Nazi or a serial rapist, because they would surely do horrible, unspeakable things with those powers, but at least they might draw the line at causing a fucking apocalypse. Twice! I hate Barry Allen. I honestly, genuinely, truly hate him. I don't think I have ever in my life seen a TV show with a more catastrophically, reprehensibly selfish person as its lead character, and I don't know that I ever will. Walter fucking White! Walter White was a saint compared to Barry Allen. This asshat has literally caused not 1, but 2 apocalypses that were both easily preventable entirely due to his own personal hang-ups. And after all that, he has learned nothing. In fact, if that last scene was any indication, not only has he learned nothing, he has somehow gotten worse than what he was before. I didn't think it was possible that these writers could ever produce a season finale that was actually worse than the first one. But they outdid themselves here. Fuck this episode. Fuck Barry Allen. And fuck this show. In the end, Barry is a dumb little kid that wants to use Mommy's death to justify anything stupid he wants to do. This makes him different than a villain. How? Exactly. It doesn't make him different than a villain. Barry is a villain. Yeah, I guess they're doing some kind of... I don't know, DC stories. What is it, like Flashpoint? Or... What's the one where Barry tries to go back in time to save somebody and this, like, fucks up the whole universe? Was that Flashpoint? Because I think that's what they're doing next season. So Barry is so selfish, once again, that he fucks up the entire universe. That's where they're going next season, I guarantee you. Okay, here's a tough question number 1. Who's more pissed off about this week's developments? Me about AJ Styles or FK about Barry Allen? Oh, me about Barry Allen. No question. I get that people are angry about it, the AJ thing. But, trust, guys, we knew that was coming. We knew that. The fact that Flash was willing to actually race Zoom knowing what it would do blew my mind. Are we sure this guy is the hero? No, he's not the hero. We are sure he is not the hero. Because he came off this episode as a vile sociopath with no grasp of right and wrong. Yes! You're 100% correct. The only reason I didn't quit the show after this is because I have yet to ever give up on a show based on one episode. This almost made me break that rule. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Flash was willing and prepared to sacrifice the entire multiverse in a pissing match. Jesus God above. The crazy thing is, their explanation for this is actually somewhat realistic. Kinda. The many worlds thing is real, and yes, magnetars exist and can generate incalculable energies. Magnetars are able to generate so much energy humans don't have an accurate word for it. However, magnetars are massive, immensely magnetic neutron stars. They're bigger than our sun by orders of magnitude. If that machine has one inside it, it'd need to be the size of a planet at least. Okay. Comic book science. And the magnetic fields they create would strip the flesh from the bones of every living creature for millions of miles. Basically, they need to be standing on Pluto to at least not die. Yeah. So how the hell did Zoom get his hands on one? I guess that's what they had at Tina McGee's lab. How did they get it? The ending with the time alteration was fucking insane. Once again, he used his powers to try to save his fucking mom, and possibly altered all of history. Now we're heading headlong into a new timeline that may or may not even have half of these people in it. If Barry is in love with his mom, is Barry in love with his mom or something? Like, I get it, he misses her, but Jesus, he misses her more than his father. Yeah. You'd think he'd want to go back in time and save his dad. That just happened, so that would probably cause much less damage to the timeline than changing something that happened 16 years ago. And I lost my place. Here we go. Went back for his mom a second time. This is the second time he did this. The first time he almost triggered an extinction-level event. This time he may have created a new timeline where Hitler is president. Would fucking serve him right. I'm honest, I came close to quitting the show when he agreed to perform the multiversal death race, but I didn't, but Jesus. I can't even begin to contemplate what this did to the timeline, considering his powers should now be gone. So how did he do it if he couldn't do it in the first place? Probably for the same reason why Eobard Thawne is still alive after his ancestor killed himself, thus eliminating his bloodline from the time stream. Because the plot demands it. You couldn't have found someone less worthy of being a superhero if you had given these powers to a Nazi. I fucking agree. Good. So we're on the same page then. I've never seen a character this flawed since Dexter went off. No bullshit. Honestly, Dexter had more redeeming qualities than Barry. At least Dexter kind of knew what he was. Yeah, Dexter knew he was a monster, and he tried to take that and use it to do something good. I don't know. Barry is worse than Dexter. Barry is a bigger monster. He's a monster who doesn't even know he's a monster. Is Barry more hated than Joffrey, or in different leagues? That's apples and oranges. More hated? I think Joffrey's more hated by the the viewing audience. I think Barry is more hated by me, just because he has the power to. Well, Joffrey didn't have the power to destroy entire universes. You know, he had a lot of power, which he wielded like a megalomaniac, but compared to what Barry does, Joffrey was kind of small potatoes. Oh wait, I'm getting off track here. Arrow gets a 7 out of 10. Okay, but not great. Yeah, pretty much. Flash gets a poop emoji out of 10. Call it mixed reviews. Yeah, poop emoji. That sounds right. I give Barry's powers to Satan and expect less of a stupid response from him. Yeah. Okay. This is from Luke and Stone. Yeah, alright, Luke and Stone. I did that one. The reason why Zoom wants to destroy the entire multiverse is because he's a murderous psychopath who gets off on counting his victims. Okay. I need more than that. You can't just say he's crazy and use it as some kind of blanket term to write off any ridiculous thing he does. He wants to destroy every world in the universe. He's crazy. Wants to destroy the entire multiverse. He's crazy. It doesn't hold water after a while, guys. There comes a point where I need more than just he's crazy. And yeah, I completely agree with everybody in universe and out who called Barry out on his rash-headed stupidity here. And the crazy thing is, I have not heard any TV critics call him out on that. If you have, by all means, give me a link to it. I'd love to read a review that actually calls him out on this garbage. If it wasn't for everybody stopping Barry and trying to execute their own half-cocked plan to stop Zoom first, he would have never recovered enough sanity to even think of the time remnant trick. I'd like to know how he thought of that in the first place. He didn't know he could do it. He didn't even know how to do it. But who taught him how to do it? And as many times as it's been emphasized in this universe that messing too far with time in imprecise ways is a terrible idea. You don't even have to know a goddamn thing about the Flashpoint storyline to recognize that Barry fucked up horribly when he went back to save his mom. Thank you! Okay, so that was Flashpoint. Alright. He backed out the second and the first. He backed out at the last second the first time. Can't even give him that much credit now. Yeah, and he only backed out because that future version of himself, did this. Where was that guy this time? Why didn't he show up? Shouldn't Barry have run into his future self fighting the Reverse Flash? Why wasn't his future self there this time? It's me. Oh, wait, so Garrick's Earth 3 and Supergirl's world are the same one? Oh, dude, who knows? I honestly think they're just making this stuff up. I was thinking about that possibility when he mentioned Earth 3. Okay, you're in a conversation here. Honestly, I hope it does go that way. It'd be cool to see if it turned out he's one of Superman's allies in that world. I'm guessing the reason traveling back was so much easier for Barry this time is because the last season is because of his increased speed and power. Yeah, I guess. it just kind of bugged me that, I mean, last season he needed this whole like huge thing built out of the particle accelerator to do it. Now he can just do it without even thinking. It just. But yeah, Barry's a dumb motherfucker. Mm-hmm. In the cartoon movie version of the Flashpoint storyline, Eobard Thawne completely mocks him for ushering in the destruction of the entire planet, all because he wanted to save his mommy. Yeah, where was Thawne to do that this time, damn it? Look up Flash versus Professor Zoom on YouTube. Okay. For those who are too lazy, I found the quote anyway. Break the sound barrier and there's a sonic boom. You broke the time barrier, Flash. Time boom. Ripples of distortion radiated out through that point of impact, shifting everything just a tiny bit, but enough for events to happen slightly different. Her hero, how noble. Oh wait, you didn't stop JFK from getting assassinated or make sure Hitler stayed in art school. You saved your mommy. You missed her. And in a supreme act of selfishness, shattered history like a rank amateur, turned the world into a living hell moments away from destruction, and I'm the villain? That's an actual quote. Flash versus Professor Zoom. I am going to look that up once I'm done with this. Hang on, you know what? I'm going to write that down. I'm going to punch that in so I remember. 1 second. Flash versus Professor Zoom. Okay, there we go. I'm going to watch that later. Yeah, where the hell was I now? Okay, you know what, let's just... I think people are in conversations like that, so let's just go chronologically. Barry really screwed up this time. Flashpoint, here we come. Also, guessing that's how they're bringing Supergirl into the Arrowverse. Still not sure what kind of effect this will have on Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow. My guess is it won't. I don't think it'll have any effect on them. I think if Legends of Tomorrow has showed us one thing, is that these shows are really not in communication with each other. So what happens in one will probably not affect the others. So if they are doing some kind of Flashpoint thing where the entire universe is fucked up because of this one change, my guess is Arrow and LOT won't even acknowledge it. Because that would pretty much derail any stories they wanted to tell. Although it's stupid to have them not acknowledge them, because if the whole universe is affected, then this world would be too. Which really begs the question, why even do this story in the first place? If it's going to create problems like that. I'm glad Caitlin told him off. Mm-hmm. Wait. I like how when Caitlin was talking to Zoom, you can tell that she's pretending through her intentionally bad acting. Just the way she was talking, you can tell this girl is lying. Oh yeah. I got this. You know, for a second there, I was like, "Wow, she is horribly unconvincing here." And I get that, and it's like, okay, she's terrified, and she's just acting through her teeth, and maybe Caitlin is just a bad actor, you know? Yeah. I can't believe Zoom actually fell for it, though. That was just kind of ridiculous. I'm like, dude, you can't tell that she's being insincere in this moment, really? Zoom looked like he was turning into Black Racer at the end. All right, I don't know who that is, so I'll take your word for it. I'll try to watch it, but I still can't imagine why Barry looks like a dummy. He looks stupid for doing it, as in that why does he have to save his mother and put his life in a huge wager against Zoom? Because he's really stupid and horribly selfish and has no concept of the way his actions affect everything around him. I guess the Flashpoint paradox is going to be how they explain how Supergirl is now in the same universe as the rest. Potentially. As long as they're in the same world, I guess that would make it easier to do crossover so they don't have to explain why she keeps coming in through the other universe. Barry is so unresponsive it ain't even funny. If I was Zoom, I would knock him straight upside the head. If I was Zoom, I would kill Barry for being a dumbass bitch. So would I, quite frankly. I don't know why Barry went back to save his mom. He's just gotten over her. Surely saving his dad somehow would make more sense. You would think so. Would also cause significantly less damage to the timeline. I don't understand. There is literally no reason why he didn't go back and save his dad instead, except they wanted to do Flashpoint. So they just had him do something that made no fucking sense at all. Because they couldn't figure out a way to justify it. So they just said, fuck it. Let's do it anyway. Yeah, that's the only way they can do a 4-show crossover next season. Use Flashpoint. Alright. I know his mother affects Flashpoint, but it feels disjointed after the Speed Force trip. Yeah. So it just feels like character regression. Like, Barry already tried this. He already learned that lesson. You can't change what happened to your mother because that's what led to you becoming the Flash. So you go back and you change that, you're completely fucking up everything. So you just gotta suck it up, be a man, and get over it. But he can't do this. And we thought he learned that lesson in the season 1 finale. I can't change that, so I have to accept it. But now he decides, oh no, I don't want to accept it anymore. I want my mommy. And that's how the universe gets fucked up next season, I guess. I hate Barry so much. Christ. Did you lose a hair versus hair match? No, I have. I've been dealing with a rash. Still, my last symptom left over from when I was sick. And it was spreading all over, and it was on my scalp. And so the hair had to go. Because I've got stuff I can put on it, but, can't do that if I have hair. So that's why I have no hair now. I can't believe we didn't... Can't believe we didn't get not even a tease of Wally and Jesse's powers. Well... There wasn't really a way to do that, I guess. I mean, that can come next season. I'm not in a big hurry for that to happen. It wouldn't really have fit in with the story anyway. I don't know where they could have put it. Thoughts? All right. See, okay, Direwolf. That's an off-topic question. Copy it, paste it down below after we finish talking about Flash. Okay. I'll be happy to answer it, but let's try to stay on topic here. Just copy and paste it down below. If it wasn't for everybody stopping Barry... no, wait, okay, I already did that. Exactly. Rather than changing 16 years, just change 1 week. Not even 1 week. It's like a day. It was like 36 hours max. Save your dad and move on. Now, without anyone else's input, he changes everyone's future. Yeah. It wasn't just Barry's own future that he was changing. He was changing everyone who's ever been affected by the Flash. So all those people that he saved when he was the... Yeah, well, I'll go off on a tangent here, but yeah. It causes a ripple effect. And that doesn't occur to Barry because he wants his mommy and fuck everything else. Why can't they take old Flash back to Earth 3? Barry had no problem getting there for the Supergirl crossover. Because there's no communication between the writing teams. Because the crossover with Supergirl was most likely handled by Supergirl writers. And they have not even, I believe they have not even mentioned that on The Flash. Have not even mentioned it, that, hey, I went to another universe and I met this chick called Supergirl. Never been brought up. Because there's no connective tissue there. Which is going to make future crossovers somewhat awkward. Where am I? Where's it? Looks like we will kick off the fall season with a 4-night crossover, seeing how all the finales ended, especially Flash. It's going to be interesting to see how they will put this together. I don't know if they'll start the season with that. I imagine they'll do something like that for sweeps. Because, they do love to do those crossovers. So I think sweeps months will be big crossover events from now on. As long as they don't have to set up another spin-off, it'll be okay. Okay, Direwolf, once again, it's off-topic stuff. Copy and paste it down below, because we're still talking about Flash here. I'm honest, I came close to... No, I did that one already. Okay, exactly. Barry gets an easy out. Meanwhile, Oliver has to carry the heavy burden of being a hero versus a torturer versus a killer. And that's what makes Oliver a better character. Because Oliver has to live with that and has to deal with the consequences, whereas Barry does not. Barry faces no consequences for what he does, and therefore faces no guilt for his actions. Because he gets immediately absolved of everything. So he should have had to kill Zoom, because that would not be taking the easy way out. But no, we just bring in these black flying, whatever the fuck those things were. Had those things been mentioned at all this entire season? I don't remember. I don't think they were. But at the 11th hour, it's like, oh yeah, these things like the Speed Force sent these demons after me, even though you've never seen them before, and they've been hunting me this entire time. So right when Barry needs to kill Zoom and finally end this madness, here come the demons to kill Zoom for me. Oh good, I don't have to do that now. Makes it easy! Why would you want to give him an easy way out? It's a better story if he has to do the adult thing and kill this motherfucker. Fuck's sake. Save me one. I was thinking about that possibility when he mentioned Earth 3. I honestly hope it does turn out that way. It'd be really cool if he turned out to be one of Superman. Cool if it turned out to be that he's one of Superman's allies in that world. I guess then you gotta address the question of why aren't they doing a crossover with Superman, And I'm guessing the reason traveling back was so much easier. I did that one. Yet he judged Oliver for not telling Felicity about his son because it would affect the universe and timeline. Seriously, Barry? Yeah, Barry's an asshole. Welcome to the Flash. Barry just crossed a huge clusterfuck, and I can't say it's funny, Barry, because Barry looks so stupid and dumb as fuck, and he looks stupid for not doing it. Okay. Would you give Flash's powers to Robbie E. or Grado rather than Barry? Well... Grado's too dumb to do anything really dangerous with those powers. Robbie probably is too. I can't say they'd be very useful, but they probably wouldn't cause an apocalypse with them or anything. Yeah, Barry's a dumb motherfucker. Will you be reviewing the new DC show Preacher? I think that starts pretty soon, doesn't it? I don't think I'll be reviewing it every week because I kind of need a break. Because I spend more time in the week getting ready for this show than you might think I do. Um, I might talk about it. I think I'll do some streams over the summer. Plus, I'm still reviewing Impact every week. You can ask me about Preacher there. I don't know when I'm going to be able to watch it. I might wait for some episodes to build up so I can binge them. But I'm sure I'll check it out at some point because I really do like those actors. You know, hell, Dominic Cooper in the lead. That's going to be awesome. And then get Raina from S.H.I.E.L.D. in there. She's great too. Forget what her name is. Ruth Negga. Yeah. She's great too. Lucky STR. And Barry Allen. Batman. Barry Allen has the power to wipe out the entire human race. We have to destroy him. Yeah, and he actually almost did that twice. So he got one over. He's worse than Superman. He's crazy is the Joker excuse. It's why I'm not such a big fan of the Clown Prince of Crime. Crazy is not a reason, it's a mental illness. Well, I think Joker is the one character where he's crazy kind of does apply to everything. Where you can just cite that and get away with it just because it's the Joker and that's kind of his thing. I think there's a line in Batman the Animated Series from back in the day where Batman says, normal criminals usually have a motive, but the Joker's insane schemes make sense to him alone. And I think that applies to a lot. Because it might seem crazy, but that doesn't mean it wouldn't make some kind of weird sense to the Joker. So you could apply that to a lot. Let's see, at least Ramsay Bolton had a fucking plan. Ramsay Bolton usually has a fucking plan. And his plans usually work. I think that's why Ramsay's a good villain. And that was off topic. You got me on that one. Joker had a plan too, like Ramsay. Fuck. Let's see. Damn, that episode, like what I was thinking while I watched the episode. Give me the Speed Force. I'll just use it to have sex with Brenda Song. I won't blow up Infinity. Barry is such an emotional wreck that it's shocking Barry isn't a long-lost cousin with Claire Bennett from Heroes. Yeah, I went there. Dude, even Claire wasn't as bad as Barry. I mean, Claire was an annoying little... Claire was an irritating little shit, but she wasn't as bad as Barry. At least Claire wasn't dangerous. I mean, she was just annoying. Barry's so much worse. Claire was a better hero. At least her powers couldn't obliterate the world if she fucked up. Yeah, her powers could just bring dead people back to life, which she didn't bother using when her father died. The second time. Don't even get me started on fucking Heroes. Jesus Christ. I will go on a tangent and I just won't stop. Actually, Barry being a dumbass bitch is part of what Zoom has been counting on for his entire plan. Oh, congratulations, dude. Your plan almost worked. Yeah, why not save his dad? I just realized that. I guess he didn't want someone else competing for his mother's love. Yeah, I went further. That's right, it makes no fucking sense! Why wouldn't he go back to save his dad? I mean, he was just supposed to have made peace with his mother's death, and then they just take that back. Why not save his dad? That wound is still fresh. Why? This makes no fucking sense. Oh... Actually, this saves both his parents because if his mom's alive, his dad's not going to jail. Well, He wasn't in jail when he got killed. But in the bigger context, he's still such a dumb fuck that he may have just destroyed the world. Barry acts like such a whining douche that he couldn't solve a riddle from the Riddler to save his life. Well, the Riddler's riddles are usually pretty clever. I mean, Batman can figure them out, but Barry is no Batman. By the way, you know how I keep saying these guys need to get beat down by the Bullet Club whenever they act totally stupid? Mm-hmm. Luke can watch his dad still be dead. Watch them go there. Oh, I think that's absolutely where they're going. He will have saved his mom, but the rest of the universe will be completely fucked up. I think his dad will be dead. I think maybe his mom will be dead. Like, he saved her from dying this time, but maybe who knows, maybe she died like a week later in a car accident or something. Or maybe she got a brain hemorrhage and died in her sleep 6 months from that point, you know? Young Buck's giving Barry super kick party. These writers have no idea how time travel works. Well, yeah, it's the same, like, people. It's like the same producers doing this show that do Legends of Tomorrow. And God knows those dumb shits don't know how to do a time travel story. You look who they learned from. I mean, I don't either, but I know what continuity is, by God. Yeah, these writers are pretty stupid. I literally want the Bullet Club to be the ultimate catalyst of the chaos that nearly destroys Barry's world now because of his massive stupidity. Sorry about the off-topic stuff. Okay, thank you. Holy shit. The black flying things were time wraiths. They were mentioned when Barry went back to get help from Thawne and Wells and chased Barry there that's when Pied Piper became good. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. I remember now. Because they weren't. I don't think they were mentioned in context with Zoom. That's why they felt like they came out of nowhere. Time to rename Beware the Superman to Beware the Flash. Beware the Flash would be a good title for next season. Yeah. Be kind of a good log line, like Save the Cheerleader, Save the World. Beware the Flash. Beware the Superman. Where did that come from? I'll look it up on TV Tropes. Okay. Thawne Wells explains they attack and kill speedsters who affect different times and dimensions. Oh, alright. I'm sorry, I guess I was remembering wrong. The time wraiths seriously need to go after Barry now. I will be very upset if they don't. That'll feel like a huge oversight. Here's a thought. If Barry isn't Joe's adopted kid anymore, he wouldn't be there to save him from Weather Wizard. Good point. So technically, Joe should be dead. Technically. Of course, Barry might not have even been fighting Weather Wizard in the first place. Would you give Kenny Omega the Flash's powers? Sure. You do a better job with them than Barry would. Is the Bullet Club in the Flash comics or the New Japan stable? I think they're the New Japan stable he's talking about. Actually, now that you mention it, Nora was looking at Barry with fear in her eyes in that final scene. I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up being scared to death in the first episode next season. Yeah, probably. I mean, wouldn't you be scared to death if some weird shit like that happened to you? She doesn't know who the Flash is, or the Reverse Flash, or what the fuck just happened. She's got no idea what's going on. And now, you can ask me off-topic stuff. So have at it. I really wish they had just one person on set whose sole job was continuity. They do. Yeah, it's called the script supervisor. But I guess you're referring to story continuity. That would be the job of the story editor. And whoever that person is on this show, they need to be fired. They have different writer-director in each episode and no one to keep them on track and avoid giant plot holes. Yeah, well, that would be the job of the writers and the story editor, I believe. And that person is not doing their job. I read that CM Punk's first fight is against Mickey Gall. Going to be in late summer, and Mickey said that will happen. All right, well, I hope it does happen. I'm really curious to see how CM Punk does in the octagon. Not expecting him to do that well, but yeah, you never know. I would love to see the bromance and the beautiful people give Barry a bro down, a boom drop, the Adonis crab, and a #1 stunner, a raindrop, and the Botox injection to kill and shut up Barry. So, okay. I would like to see Barry get beaten up, not by those people. I don't think there's a reason to put the bromance over like that because the bromance are awful. But to each their own. Why can't they rename this show the Barry Allen Fucks Up Everything Show? Because they're on network television and they can't drop any F-bombs on the CW. Wanted to post this about S.H.I.E.L.D. last week and ran out of time. My 5-step wish list for the fall season of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 5. Move past Hydra and the Inhumans. Okay, I think they've pretty well moved past Hydra by this point. I expect the Inhumans will still be a thing. But maybe not as big a thing as they were this season. Bring back Bobby and Hunter. With Most Wanted not being picked up, no need to keep them off the show. Agreed. I really hope they come back. I think with the way they were written out, that might be difficult. So I'm not really expecting them to be back full-time. But certainly on recurring status. I think we could get a good number of episodes with them, but maybe not every episode. Where am I? Did you hear that there's going to be a Harley Quinn spin-off movie? I heard they're talking about it. Let's see how the Suicide Squad movie does first, then we can talk about that. Because that sounds a little premature to me. Did you know that the DC Universe Rebirth had to be made so that it could explain the plot holes from Flashpoint? I heard something about that. I think Linkara was talking about that in a post he made on atopthefourthwall.com. How they took a bad story and used it to kind of use this bad story to create a better story with which to explain the bad story. I think he referenced something like Marvel did that once, and I guess that's what they're going to try to do here. Good luck to them, because as I understand it, the New 52 has been a fucking mess of plot holes. And I haven't been keeping up because I'm not reading any of the DC books, but I've been hearing people complaining about all the plot holes left by the New 52 for a good couple of years now. It's like editorial had no real plan in place for all this, and they weren't really in communication with each other, and they kept changing their minds about stuff, leading to a whole bunch of things that didn't make sense and a whole bunch of retcons that needed to happen to explain away certain things. And if this is their way to try to rectify that, good luck. 3, crossover with the Netflix shows. That absolutely needs to happen. With Daisy on the streets as a vigilante, it would be the perfect time for her to bump into Murdoch, Jones, Cage, Rand, or Castle. Abso-fucking-lutely, man. They need to get Daredevil in there at the very least. I don't know if the schedules could be worked out, because they'll probably be filming the Defenders at the same time. But they could get somebody in there. Get at least one of the Defenders. Do a crossover. Do something. Man, the fans love that shit. But it seems like Marvel kind of wants the Netflix thing to be its own separate entity, and I don't know why. Why are you... Do a crossover. People like that stuff. You know? Uh, I'm not expecting it, but I hope I agree. I think it needs to happen. Even if it was just each character being there for one episode. Yeah. Like, okay, we don't need Iron Fist for this episode of Defenders, so he can guest on Shield. I'm sure Clark Gregg would like that because that's his favorite Marvel character, and I know he's been campaigning to do something with Iron Fist. Dixie liked a tweet from Ryback that said, "Feed me more during Extreme Rules if you want to see Ryborg in the Impact Zone." Oy, did he actually say that? Ugh. Oh, man. From a business standpoint, I guess it would make sense if they signed Ryback, assuming he's getting released from WWE. I would not want to see that. How about they fire Tyrus first? If they get rid of Tyrus, then sure, bring in Ryback. I can't really see how that would be fun to watch, though. Not really big on Ryback. 2. Have Maria Hill be the new director. Colby Smulders is a fantastic actress and would bring a lot to the show. Plus, it would be another main character like Coulson that has deep roots in the MCU films. I think the reason why we haven't seen more of Maria Hill is because Colby Smulders moved to New York and didn't want to come back, didn't want to live in LA anymore. I think it would be cool if it was Maria Hill, but apparently she's not working in Shield anymore. She works for Stark now, so that could be tricky to explain. I'm still hoping. I'm hoping the new director is Talbot. Just there's so many awesome comedic possibilities with that. Having Coulson having to work for Talbot now, that would be hilarious. I'm so hoping it's Talbot. Realistically, who will it be? Probably May. But I hope it's Talbot. I so hope it's Talbot. Yeah, there's no comic book Bullet Club that I know of. I really was talking about a hyper-fictionalized version of the New Japan stable as Arrowverse villains. All right. Thoughts on Captain America being a sleeper agent for Hydra in the comics. All right, spoiler alert. Marvel is doing a storyline where it turns out that Captain America has been a deep cover Hydra operative this whole time. Honestly, this screams publicity stunt to me. I think it's clickbait. It's something they're doing just to get eyeballs on their comics. It's something they're doing for the publicity. It's a PR stunt. That's what it feels like to me. So they'll get a few issues out of this. Maybe a year or two, and then the status quo will reassert itself, and Captain America will be good again because there's an out somehow, and it's like, oh no, see, it really was good the whole time, and he was hypnotized or something, or brainwashed or whatever. A couple hours ago, I saw a post on Tumblr, which I'd reference if I could find it again, where somebody took the panel of Cap saying "Hail Hydra," and then they replaced it with Spider-Man saying "fuck responsibility" and Daredevil saying "I could see the whole time," and Deadpool saying "I hate chimichangas," and like other panels like that. And that's what it is. It's a complete betrayal of everything we know this character to be. So it's got to be just a publicity stunt that they're going to take back later on. I think it's annoying. I wish they weren't doing it, but I don't work for Marvel, unfortunately. Any thoughts on the newly announced brand split and SmackDown going to Tuesdays live every week? Newly announced brand split, I think it's stupid. They tried this before. It didn't work. It was a complete failure. It was fucking stupid. It wasn't a real brand split. You had wrestlers crisscrossing between the brands every fucking week anyway, so why even do it in the first place? They established rules and then they couldn't stick to them. The whole thing became completely fucking pointless. Yeah, so nothing says new era like going back to something that you did before that didn't work and trying it again. New era, my ass. SmackDown going to Tuesdays every week. Well, them going head to head with Impact again probably had a lot to do with that. Yeah, they'll say that that wanting to SmackDown to go live was the primary reason, and it probably was. But yeah, I'm sure taking a chunk out of Impact's viewership was in the back of their minds, so that was probably a contributing factor. And the timing really sucks because TNA Impact was finally starting to gain some traction and viewership on Tuesday, and now that's going to be WWE's going to be taking a bite out of that. So it sucks because the McMahons are just hyper competitive freaks like that. Oh boy. The hell was I? One, get Scarlett Johansson to guest star for one episode. Bringing in an Avenger would be a big deal, and with Black Widow, you don't have to worry about effects, or since she's Marvel's best spy. Scarlett Johansson could be problematic. She is very busy making movies. I think Jeremy Renner said that he'd be willing to do it if they asked him, but he's busy himself. If any of the Avengers were to guest star, it would probably be Renner, but I wouldn't hold my breath for Scarlett Johansson. She's real busy. And no one can get a secret out of her. Coulson being alive wouldn't be an issue. Plus, Scarlett has done TV guest star work in the past, even lending her voice to Robot Chicken. Has she? I didn't know that. Wait, Cap is a Hydra agent, as in Steve Rogers or one of his successors? No, that's the story. No, it's Steve Rogers. They're doing a story that says Captain America, Steve Rogers, was this whole time a deep cover Hydra agent. Going all the way back to World War II. He was recruited by Hydra and has been in deep cover this entire time. That's what they're saying. It's so ludicrous, it has to be a publicity stunt that they're going to take back later. It has to be. Hell, now we're mentioning AOS. Give Barry's powers to Bobby or Hunter. It'd be very fucking funny if Hunter got them, because he's so paranoid about superpowers in general. Wait, what? Fucking what? How the hell is Steve Rogers a Hydra agent? Since when? Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make... It's completely fucking ridiculous. Since when? Well, since back to before he got stuck in the ice, apparently. That's what they're saying. It's absolutely ludicrous, but that's what they're saying. Apparently there's a storyline that explains this whole thing, and I haven't been reading it, but that's what they're saying. I hope that Rebel, Marty Bell, Jade, and Barry all get a briefcase in the fantasy. Feast are fired, and Rebel gets a tag title shot. Marty Bell gets a King of the Mountain title shot. Jade gets a world title shot, and Barry a pink slip. Gee, wow, you really like the Feast or Fired match, don't you? Wow. Seth Rollins being a heel is complete bullshit. WWE, once again, they don't learn their fucking lessons, and the asshole creative team are going above and beyond to make Reigns Super Cena 2.0. Fuck that. Agreed. I think it's beyond stupid. They are dead set on Roman Reigns being their top babyface, even though the audiences can't stand the guy. He's getting booed. They boo the shit out of him every week, and having him feud with AJ Styles wasn't helping. The crowds are pissing all over this guy. Of course they were going to cheer for Rollins when he came back. And just having Rollins be a heel, it's like you've got two round pegs and two square holes, and the whole thing just feels incredibly awkward. And it makes so much more sense to turn Reigns heel and have Rollins come back as the face who's going after the title that he never lost. Why is Rollins still a heel? People don't want to cheer this motherfucker. They don't want to boo him, rather. They want to boo Reigns. But it just shows that WWE doesn't care what the fans want. They're going to do what they want regardless. And shit like that pisses me off. Good. Marvel can kiss my black ass. This is unforgivable. Well, it's a publicity stunt, man. It's a stupid publicity stunt. I will agree to that. But that's all it is. I think Chris Evans tweeted something about that. He's like, what? Hail Hydra, what? Yeah, so he couldn't believe it either. So it's just, it's something they're doing just for shock value, really. People need to see how the Hydra captain thing plays out before judging. Hydra is not exclusive to Nazis. Do they know this? No, they know this. Doesn't mean it's not a stupid idea. They would have to execute, they would have to they would need a really fucking great idea and a really great way of executing that to make it not feel like bullshit. That's all I'm going to say. Which is the most unlikable love interest on a TV show? Lana Lang from Smallville, Felicity from Arrow, or Iris from The Flash? Oh, Lana Lang, no question about it. Okay, Felicity only became unlikable as a love interest during the breakup with Oliver because he lied about his kid plot line. Okay, the love triangle with Ray in season 3 was dumb for the most part, but she never got to a point where she became really unlikable until the breakup with Oliver thing. But even at her worst, she never came close, not even in the same stratosphere as Lana Lang from Smallville. Lana Lang was just intolerable as a character. Don't even get me started on her. I'll go on forever. But yeah, if we're ranking them from best to worst, if it's Felicity, Iris, and then Lana is way, way, way all the fuck down there. Holy fuck, Jeff, did you have to remind me about Rollins now? Have you seen the new She-Hulk comics where she looks like a fat alien chick from Steven Universe? What the fuck, Marvel? No, I haven't seen that. I haven't been to the comic store in a while. I've actually kind of dropped individual issues. I'm only getting trades now, which I'm doing to save money. I haven't actually been to the store in a while. Might be due for a trip. But no, I haven't seen that. No, I don't need to give it a shot. He's Steve fucking Rogers. He can't be a Hydra agent for the same reason that Superman can't join ISIS. I agree. It's a dumb idea. And I don't like it any more than you do. And I'm not a Cena or Reigns hater at all. I respect Cena, and Roman does bust his ass. But if SummerSlam this year is Reigns versus Cena, expect the crowd to shit on the match, agree, or overreaction. I think they'd shit on Reigns and then be split on Cena. I don't think that'll happen at SummerSlam. I think SummerSlam is Reigns versus Rollins. If Reigns versus Cena is happening anytime soon, it'll be a WrestleMania. The real heels question. I'll say Lana Lang is the most unlikable. She's actively done villainous shit on top of being a hypocritical fool. And also just a horribly acted, terribly written character. Iris isn't even really bad at all. It's just her and Barry that don't gel as well as they should. That's part of it. Also because her character is kind of useless. She doesn't really contribute anything except being moral support for Barry. Aside from that, she doesn't really have a meaning, like a reason to even exist. The why is irrelevant. They're postulating a hero who has been a hero and fought Hydra for decades is now a Hydra member. Well, how come he never ever reacted as if he were one for the last 30 years? I agree! It's ridiculous! Now, apparently, they're going to try to explain this somehow. I don't care. It's always going to be ridiculous, but they're going to try. And they probably won't succeed. Holy crap. A lot more questions here. There's deep cover, and then there's literally killing Hydra leaders for 3 decades. There is no possible continuity where this works. As for Cap being Hydra, this is ridiculous. I could understand a thing where he's been brainwashed or framed or something. In fact, it's probably going to turn out that way, just like FK says. Okay, yeah. They're going to take it all back pretty soon. But them trying to convince people that the idea is that he was a deep cover agent for Hydra all along is completely non-believable if you have any clue about this character. I highly doubt anyone is actually buying this. Yep. Did you hear SmackDown? USA Network mentioned that SmackDown will be a 3-hour show starting in October. Are you serious? They can't even make a 3-hour Raw interesting, and now they're doing a 3-hour SmackDown? Oh my god. That show is like 98% filler as it is. They're doing a 3-hour oh, fuck that. What the fuck was the board meeting that came up with this bullshit? I would also like to know the answer to that question. Do you think you'll be doing streams for Suicide Squad, Game of Thrones, and Luke Cage? Game of Thrones, like, maybe when the season is over. If people want to ask me about Suicide Squad and Luke Cage when I'm talking about other stuff, fine. I don't think they'll get individual streams for those. I don't know if I'd have enough to say, really. Which board meeting? Cap being Hydra, Rollins being heel, Barry being an idiot, or Styles being buried? Probably all of them. Who the ever-living fuck which mental pygmy came up with this shit? I would pay to be a fly on the wall to hear what they were saying. Hydra, Cap, but yeah, the Styles thing since you mentioned it. Who wins in a fight, Mr. Freeze or Victor Von Doom? Oh, Dr. Doom, of course. You know, Freeze has his freeze ray, but Doom has magic and Doom bots and the resources of an entire nation at his disposal. You know, Freeze is just a guy with a freeze gun. Because I could frankly go for investigating all 4 of those board meetings, quite frankly. This is literally like Batman being revealed as the guy who shot his parents for the League of Assassins. That was actually part of that Tumblr post I mentioned earlier. Another one of those panels that the person made was Batman saying, "I shot my parents." It's the same thing as Cap being Hydra. When I told you about what I would get, a briefcase and Feast or Fire between a world title shot, a tag title shot, a King of the Mountain title shot, an X title shot, and a pink slip, and what case will I get and why? What? When I told you about what I would get, what case would you get? I don't know. What case do you want? I mean, it's all fantasy booking. You can get any case you want, dude. Or like if they revealed Spider-Man killed Uncle Ben. Or for Green Goblin. Yes. 3-hour SmackDown. What the fuck? Yeah, She-Hulk looks like the purple one from Steven Universe. No bullshit. The art looks like a goddamn webcomic. Okay, I think we're starting to go around in circles here. Let's think about wrapping this thing up now. Also, fuck Roman Reigns and the Usos. The Usos are a rip-off of the Young Bucks, and I would love to see the Bullet Club fuck up the Bloodline. Too sweet. I don't like Reigns at all. More Ambrose and Rollins. Okay. I don't see how they're a rip-off of the Young Bucks. I don't see enough differences there. What was so bad about Lana Lang from Smallville? She was a horribly written, horribly acted Mary Sue character that was absolutely intolerable. That's the short version. If you want me to go into want me to do the long version, we will be here all night. Please don't make me do the long version. I really, really, really hated that character. The comic industry is dead anyway. Cartoons, TV, and movies are the present and future. Both Marvel and DC know it. Well, I think there's a future in webcomics. But the print industry, the print medium as a whole, is on the downswing now. I had a crush on Lana, so I didn't hate her as much, I guess. I admit I'm biased. Oh, she was hot, sure. That was her only redeeming quality. Yeah, would you agree with me on DJZ getting an X Division title shot? Oh, sure, I'd like to see him get a title shot, of course. Jeff Hardy, a world title shot. Doesn't really make sense right now. James Storm, a King of the Mountain title shot. No, I want to see James Storm in the main events. Mike Bennett, a tag title shot with EC3. No, that would make no sense. They hate each other. Why would they be? Why would they want to be a tag team? EC3 and Tyrus Pink Slip. That would make sense. That would be great. And do you watch Steven Universe? No. What do you think will happen when X-Men takes on Alice through the Looking Glass this weekend? Wow. Well, the X-Men movies typically do pretty well, and Alice Through the Looking Glass is a sequel to a movie that did well but was not well received. My guess is X-Men will come out on top here. And Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows next weekend. That's next weekend? Really? If I had to guess, I think Ninja Turtles will probably get thrown under the bus and not do that well. Because that's another sequel based on a movie that was not well received. It was a poorly reviewed movie that did well enough to warrant a sequel based mostly on nostalgia. How will SmackDown compete against AOS and Flash? It won't. I don't watch SmackDown now, and I won't be watching it on Tuesday. Because it's nothing but a bunch of filler. How would you book Ambrose if you got creative control? Get him out of a feud. Get him out of this feud with Jericho and put him into a feud with somebody who's interesting. Nothing against Jericho, but he's not the most relevant guy anymore. Okay, Steven Universe stuff, which I've never watched that show. It's just some hipster bullshit about space lesbians and their autistic adopted son and his biological father who looks like Scott Pilgrim grew up and became a child molester. Okay. That's one vote against Steven Universe. She was hot, sure. That was her only redeeming quality. Sounds like Eva Marie. Velvet Sky also falls into that category. Only at least Eva Marie could actually get a role where being hot is the only thing necessary. Kristen Kruk as Lana Lang, no such luck. So like 3 episodes. Honestly, the show blows, dude. I'm not remotely enough of a liberal or a millennial to care about Steven Universe. Pearl is kind of cute, I guess. Okay, well, you're talking about Steven Universe here, which I've never seen. So I think that's a good place to end it. Talk show airtime, light bright jackets, potted plants. That's literally all this Ambrose and Jericho feud is about. It's stupid. I agree. The whole thing is based on Shane taking away the highlight reel and replacing it with the Ambrose Asylum. And they've never once answered the question, why can't Jericho just do the fucking highlight reel on SmackDown because Shane doesn't control SmackDown? Makes no fucking sense. And that's where we're going to end it tonight. I'm not going to enjoy Raw and SmackDown 3 hours, especially on Tuesday. If you were Rebels, Marty Bell's my manager, how would you do as a manager for us three on Impact? I don't know. Are you a wrestler? Are you a manager? What's your role? I wouldn't have them together. I'd probably split them up and have them each managing someone else. Okay, that'll be it for tonight. Oh god, this central air is just not cutting it. Okay, I am going to hit the showers. Thanks everybody for joining me. I guess that does it for the Comic Show Post Show this season. I will probably be doing some other streams this summer. I'm still doing the Impact stream every Saturday. The day might change now that my weeks will be a little more freed up, but I'm expecting them to stay on Saturday for the time being. Also, I may do a stream about this season of Game of Thrones when it's over, and some other stuff. Some other stuff too, if I want. There's a couple of things I could talk about, I guess. But for now, this will be it for the hashtag CSPS, and I'm kind of looking forward to having a little bit of a break because this season took a lot out of me. Thank you very much, Legends of Tomorrow and Flash. So thanks everybody for joining us this season. This particular live stream will be back in the fall, I think. Now we'll see how I feel when the new season starts. And yeah, otherwise you can still find me doing the Impact stream every week in its usual day, and I may have some other stuff coming up too. So I will talk to you guys on Saturday, and if anything changes on that schedule, just to check my Twitter for updates, and I will talk to you then. So I will see you on Saturday. Until then, peace out.